Got Your Back Pod Stream is powered by Play Alberta. Did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $250,000 on Cleopatra 2? From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions, there's never been a better time to sign up. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
What's going on, folks? Welcome to Got Your Back post-game live edition. Another really solid performance from Connor Ingram. Boy, is he ever making this goaltending situation interesting, hey? Really solid night tonight. Helps the Oilers scrape out a win in Chicago and get this two-game back-to-backer off to a great start. Struddy standing by. We got Rob Brown coming up. Zuby is in the Growler Media World headquarters in Kelowna, and I am grinding it out here in our Timber House studio in Sherwood Park. I feel great. If the voice plays along, hoping to stick in for the full show tonight. We'll just see how the pipes do. That's okay. Struddy's got my back if things go bad. As always, Got Your Back is presented by our title sponsor, Timber House Developments. Their commitment-driven process, empowering their team to craft some of Edmonton's finest custom homes. If you're thinking of a garden suite, infill development, or a fully custom home, talk to Timber House with a full team of in-house designers and decades of construction experience. They will bring your ideas to life. Visit timberhouse.ca and discover how naturally inspired living can make your life better. As I am coming at you from the Timber House studio out here in Sherwood Park. Okay, making an executive decision, Struds. That's the last ad read I'm doing. I'm going to try and cut back on my words. You're now the commercial guy.
Got it. I love it. I'm ready for it. I've got a big voice today.
I like that attempt at you guys doing it in unison. Why not do that? It'd just be like backup vocals on a song. Struddy will just try to do it at the same time as you.
Was that what I heard? You started doing it, Struds? Because I said you'll probably have to do the ad reads tonight, and then I powered through the first one.
I thought you paused, so I'm like, oh, that's my time to slide in here. Give it a tap.
It is.
Tops and Roo, get him out of here.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. No, you got him from here on in, man. You got him from here on in. Zuby, the stream is going to be feeling good about Connor Ingram tonight. Your job to kind of keep an eye on the best of it. But feel free to bring in some of those Ingram comments as we're having our discussion here in the first segment, because it's been a long time since Oiler fans have been able to just feel real positive about what they're seeing in net.
Yeah, and yet we've already got Ace 96 here. Pickardite number 1 wants to know why Knobloch is sheltering Ingram. They still think it's easy starts for Ingram. So he's not alone. He's not alone in that. He's not alone in that way of thinking. And my name, Jeff, with one of the best here Ingram comments. His Ingram comment is Ingram comment. So he's trying to get in there quickly right to the top. I'm going to be keeping an eye for better stuff than that, but
it doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, it certainly is going to be a hot topic of conversation here, and it'll be coming up in the YouTube poll as well.
All right, I love it. Struds, why don't we just dig right in and get to our breakdown, brought to you by the Canadian Brew House.
During every Oilers game day at the Canadian Brew House, enter at any Edmonton and area location for your chance to win Oilers home game tickets. That's right, get tickets to the game. Plus, enjoy $1 off Molson Canadian and Coors Light tankards. Edmonton born, Canadian operated. That's our buddies at the Brew House.
Trizent is in with an early chirp. Ryan's never-ending cold and voice reminds me of my dog who starts to limp in order to get attention and treats.
Jeez.
That's a stiff shot. Stiff shot at a guy that's just battling through here, Struds. I would have expected a little more respect than that, maybe.
I've taken my shots at you, but for this, I'm not going to. I'm just going to step back and let this play out, because sooner or later, I'm going to get sick. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. There you go. Actually, I was listening to a little bit of Ched's postgame show. I think Brownie's maybe getting a little something too. He was sounding a little more bass and nasalness in his voice. So we'll see how the big guy is doing when he checks in here in a little bit. So lots of different elements in this game to talk about tonight, Struds, but we probably should start with Connor Ingram. It kind of looked in the early going like, oh boy, is this going to be one of those nights where we're talking about the Oilers getting goalied? Because Spencer Knight can be that type of goaltender, but Ingram was just steady. He was just kind of behind the scenes. He just made a few really good saves early and was just steady through the rest of the night. And on a night where I thought maybe we'd be talking about Spencer Knight, here we are. It's about Connor Ingram.
The other night, I made a comment that Connor Ingram makes the easy saves look easy. And I think Zuby actually complimented me on that. And I as I was watching the game tonight, I kept thinking like, it just hits him, and he squeezes. Everything just squeezes in. There's not a lot of rebounds. Now, I know there's a rebound goal tonight, but that was a bit of an awkward one, right from the way the puck got into that spot. So we'll just leave. It's only one goal against, but man, he just looks so sharp and clean. That is how I describe him as a demon. He's very, very clean back there. And he had to make some big saves. I mean, the first shift of the game, turnover, bang, and he's ready for it. And there was multiple like that. I think the Oilers outchanced them probably over the course of the game, but not by a drastic amount because I think Chicago got going. But the Oilers' puck management at times was very limited, and it forced him to make some really quick saves, not saves that you predicted they were coming.
Yeah, I think I think sometimes when the other team, misses the net with a couple of their best chances, or it's like, I just get the feeling with Ingram in there, they look up and just don't see a lot available because he's so positionally sound, and so you see them missing some nets, firing it wide, firing it high because they look up and he's just where he's supposed to be, Struds. And I know you're in touch with Noodles a lot. We exchanged some texts tonight. One of the things that Noodles said a while back that really stood out to me was that of their goaltenders, Ingram is probably the most talented in terms of like understanding how to play the position, right? It's obviously about a lot more than that. It's consistency and, sort of being able to grind through and all those things. But from a pure goaltending skill standpoint, he likes Ingram's talent level as much as any of these three and talks a lot about his butterfly and how sound technically his butterfly is. And Noodles will say that's part of the reason why he's able to be as square as what you and I are seeing and describing, that's a testament to his butterfly. Zuby, you can chime in on that part of the conversation too as a goaltender yourself. But Struds, Noodles really believes in this goaltender's technical ability. And I think nights like tonight, you kind of see it.
When a guy that played the position or as a goalie coach speaks, I listen because I'm not really sure how he gets to that. But he looks very square to me. Like he's just facing the shooters. He's making them beat him, right? He's not beating himself. Nothing's squeaking through. Doesn't look like he's out of control. And, as a demon, I just love that. I just want to look behind me and see it's calm. The fire can be in front of him and I'll try to put it out. I'll probably contribute to it at times as a D-man. Every D-man does. But man, do you like to see that calmness from your netminder? And that's how I describe him the best. He's calm. And Noodles is right because I think with Skinner, he couldn't quite get down in that full butterfly and his pads weren't always square. And I think this really helps. So, here we go. The guys are getting on. I can see in the stream about what's going on with this goalie situation. I think they should just be happy. There's 3 goalies that are in the mix right now. 3 guys. Yep. Well, one's hurt, but 2 are pushing or trying to push to get a spot on this team right now. And Ingram continues to make statements.
So what about that idea that quality of competition makes a big difference here? I'm just calling up his game log because I can't recall offhand all of his starts. So I'm just going to call this up here while we have this discussion. And I can tell you who he's started against since he's been here.
I think start with Vegas. Did it start with Vegas?
Yeah, Vegas, Calgary. Boston, Nashville, LA, and then tonight, Chicago. So, I mean, the Vegas start, that's a good team there playing. You grab that win 4-3. The back-to-backs against Calgary. It's a battle of Alberta, but, not the toughest. Boston, the one he lost, didn't play great in that one. Nashville had been playing better, but certainly the weaker. And then the LA Kings, which that's an important game. and then tonight. So, I mean, fair to say he hasn't faced a juggernaut yet, but I don't know that I would say be careful having too much confidence that these are positive signs because the competition level hasn't been high enough. Nobody's saying he should be their number one guy. At least I'm not saying that, and maybe some on the stream are. But I think, there's enough of a sample size. There's 7 games since he's been called up. I'm not concerned about the quality of competition at this point.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a lighter part of the Oilers schedule as far as who they're playing. Just even look at the chunk right now, right? Who they've got. The Islanders come up on Thursday, Nashville. There is the Colorado, the Dallas, and all that. But, for the most part, the Oilers, they should feel really comfortable playing against anyone, thinking these are winnable games. So let's put Minnesota, Dallas, Colorado on that. I guess I'll throw Vegas out of respect in there, but those are the 4 teams in the West. So that leaves 11 other teams that you're like, yeah, we should beat these guys. Then in the East, they've already played all the road games, but who do we got? We got Carolina over there. Is there anyone else you're like deathly afraid? Detroit? I don't think you're deathly afraid of playing them. So
No.
other than a handful of teams, Oilers should win those games. So I know what people are saying, but I don't know. I don't see it that way at all.
The conversation about what should happen now is fascinating.
Oh, man.
Because, and we're going to hear from Connor Ingram first before we get into it. But imagine this, Struds. Like, what happens now? The Oilers have too many goaltenders that are actually playing well. Like American League, NHL, they've kind of got this abundance of guys who are actually sending the signal that you want to see more of them. And that's going to make this tricky and interesting, and waivers and all that is involved. So we'll get into that in just a minute. But let's get to our Weiss Johnson Soundbox Struds, brought to you by Weiss Johnson Heating and Air Conditioning.
If the Christmas bills are coming in, but your furnace or hot water tank just conked out on you, or maybe you didn't get that grad cheater you wanted for Christmas, either way, Weiss Johnson is now offering no interest for 24 months to make your purchase easier. Visit wjjingle.com for exclusive specials. Just forgot your back, jingle lovers, hit it.
Weiss Johnson, whoa. We're proud to be local and family.
All right, a bit of a longer clip here. Let's listen to some Connor Ingram in conversation with Paige Martin from Oilers TV.
I think that's what good teams do. And, you take a look at the track record around here the last couple of years. This is a team that knows how to win hockey games. So those are games you got to hold on to and find a way to get it done. And I think we did that. We got the empty netter. And then even to not take your foot off after that, I think shows a lot about the character in there.
You made so many crucial saves tonight on the penalty kill in those final few minutes as well. What can you assess about your game tonight?
I felt good. It's starting to feel more normal every time we get out there. And luckily for me, I've been able to play a lot, so you can find a rhythm and just try and stick into it and hold on as long as you can. So, no, I thought it felt good today.
What did you think about your new gear, the new setup?
Everyone around me seems to like it more than I do. It's a little out there for me. As I was skating off the ice today, I asked Pix, I said, do I look dumb right now? And he had my back. So, no, it's a step out there for me, but it's just for these specialty jerseys, and I don't have a little fun with it.
Zuby, what do you think of the kid, buddy? What do you think of the get up?
Oh, I love it. And you know what's funny? Because I strongly dislike, I don't want to say hate, I strongly dislike all white setup. I think it's boring. I love Jarry's gear. But the cream, somehow with the cream and the cream jerseys, it works. I'm all about it. But not all white, but I like all cream, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just for some context, I think we got to talk about Calvin Pickard. The last 4 games, he's had Minnesota, Winnipeg, Philly, Winnipeg. So Winnipeg's one of the worst teams in the league, or was at that time. Philly, a playoff team, and Minnesota was a good team. So they've had what I'd say one great team, one playoff team, and then the worst team in the league.
Yeah, so it's not like Pickard has had to, move mountains in that time either. And Pickard has had some good games. He's had some good starts and played some good games. And is definitely he stole that one game. Where was that? Was that Montreal? He stole a game anyways that I recall.
Winnipeg.
Winnipeg, yeah.
Was it Winnipeg? Sorry about that. Yeah, my memory's a little fuzzy right now. Okay, so the conversation about what should happen now, we're going to press pause on that. We're going to have that discussion, but we have more of a game to break down. So let's push through that, and let's get to the rest of the game. Struds, Spencer Knight really good early on. And I thought the Oilers, there were some turnovers and some puck management stuff for sure. But, the Oilers, Ingram holds the fort and the Oilers get on the board. Hyman ends up getting things going, but it's Evan Bouchard in on both of the Oilers' 2 goals to get started.
Yeah, and he's playing really well. He's playing at elite level. But what I liked about the Oilers is that they just kept going and kept going in the first period. Yeah, they weren't rewarded until the start of the second, and they got a lucky one. It was really lucky, and Evan Bouchard kind of laughed about it post game. But they had in the first period, there's way better opportunities than that one. But that second goal proved to be really important, especially at that time, because if Chicago ties it, let's say the first 5 minutes of the second period, now it's a different game. But you come out and bang right away at 2-0 goal, and I thought they might get another one. They didn't prior to the end of the game. But I love that they didn't stop trying and going after Spencer Knight, because Spencer Knight has had a good year for the Hawks.
Yeah, he has. So, what did you think of the way that the Oilers played to earn that 2-0 lead? Because I think after they had it, I would suggest Chicago probably, even though they were a depleted lineup tonight, I thought they played pretty well from that point forward. But, the Oilers, I thought, they had their lines rolling. I thought the fourth line had some really good shifts and some good looks there. But it seemed to me like the Oilers were snapping it around and had their legs. Would that be fair?
It would be. And I thought they came out early with that. The dads are in the house. For those that didn't watch the game, Connor Bedard and Frankie Nazar were not in the lineup for the Hawks. So that makes a difference, especially when you're evaluating a power play that went, 0 for 2, I think, tonight. But there was a lot of good things. The fourth line, I liked the way you brought I think the first couple of periods, they played really well. They had chances. Lazar could have had 2 goals himself tonight with point-blank chances. And I liked it. I like what they were doing with Frederick. I liked how they were putting him on Leon's line for defensive zone starts, in case he needed to get a win. He had 2 face-off wins. But I really like that little wrinkle, because, again, it's like, hey, buddy, this is what you do. Well, we're going to put you out and trust you. Now, when you get a chance, you change, but that builds confidence in a player. It's a place to start, gives you a toehold that I think he's been looking for, he being both Knobloch and the player.
Yeah, just little tiny baby steps, looking for little opportunities to help him gain little tiny bits of progress. I would say tonight, Struds, I don't have the game summary up, so I'm not sure how many minutes he played. I don't know if you've got it there, but between and Lazar and Jan Mark, roughly how much those guys played between the three of them?
He was the most. Trent was the most, like around 9 minutes, because he was getting a little bit extra juice from that opportunity.
So I'm just going to call up some of their results from Natural Stat Trick here. But the point I was going to make is if you kind of squint, you squint a little and look at that game from them tonight and think about that line and the way it's constructed, do you kind of feel like that could be a playoff fourth line? Like like that could be the fourth line for game 1 of the playoffs. If you squint a little right now.
Well, listen, guys, I've been banging this drum. They have 2 first lines and 2 fourth lines. And, they that third line is still a work in progress. And we'll get to that in momentarily, I'm sure. But that's a big body on both wings. It's a fast guy in Lazar who also plays up tempo. And tonight they were good. And yeah, I think that could be your fourth line. If that's what you need, you can, move some pieces in and out. But right now, it's so important for Trent just to get a toehold on this season. So important. Yeah. And I really like that little wrinkle of adding that face-off. It wasn't tons of times, but it's enough where when they call out that line, they go, Frederick left wing, you're like, what? And you're feeling so good about yourself. Yeah. So let's see if you can build off that for tomorrow night in Nashville.
Let me ask you this about Frederick. That 2-on-1/3-on-1 that he had, do you view his decision to shoot as a confident decision or a decision that came from a lack of confidence to make the play?
It's funny. As I was watching that, I was thinking, what do I have done if that was me? I would have given that puck up as fast as I could. I didn't want it on my stick. because maybe I don't trust myself is the wrong word, but I didn't want to have to make that decision. I knew I probably wouldn't make the right decision. So for me, it was confident that he shot it. Brownie might have a different position. To be fair, he's going with Nurse and Podkolzin, right? That wasn't exactly against Connor and Leon.
Yep.
So I think he's in the same realm as those gentlemen with goal scoring. But I would have liked, I think I would like to see him earlier move it just to get the D-man to when Podkolzin give it back to you. But I'll view it as confident. What do you see it as?
Yeah, I see it as a lack of confidence to make the play, but I liked the shot. Like, he shot it low, he shot it into the pads, it's set up for a rebound. I was fine with the shot. But if a player is at the NHL level, and I think the skill that Trent Frederick actually has, I think we'll see a day where he's confident enough to make a play in that situation. But I think it was just keep it simple, make sure you get the shot on net, don't blow this. So I think, the option to pass was probably like, yeah, I just don't have that play in my game right now. It was a confident shot off the pads, creating a rebound. I was okay with it, buddy. But I thought that kind of similar thing. I'm like, I wonder where that came from, that decision.
Yeah, and the D-man actually played it pretty well. It wasn't like there was a really easy or obvious pass. And again, it's Trent Frederick. That's not Leon Draisaitl. The expectations shift when it's 29-10. But 29 to anyone really, except 97.
Yeah. Okay, should we do a little relentless player action, my friend?
Sure.
And that is brought to you by our friends over at UCAN Youth Services.
Where is it? Hold on here.
I got it. You want me to do it? An Edmonton charity, Relentless,
go for
helping
it.
16 to 24-year-olds step out of harm's way and into meaningful work. Make that change today right here at home. Visit ucan.ca. We'll also tell you, we'll have more information on UCAN's comedy nights that are coming up in March. I think we've been to them 3 years in a row, Struds. They're always tons of fun. So more information coming up on the dates and how you can be involved. Hoping for Got Your Back to be there again this year. So keep an eye on UCAN's socials and on ours. Those comedy nights are always an absolute blast. All right, buddy, who's getting the nod tonight?
Yeah, I'm going to give it to Ingram. I think that he had to be good throughout this game. You give up one goal on 30 shots. That's a pretty good night. But I couldn't believe some of the great chances that they had against, and he had to make those saves. And again, he made the easy saves look easy and the harder ones look easy as well. Like he was good tonight. This should be a moment where the fans rejoice. Now, is it Connor Bedard and Frankie Nazar? Do we have a different outcome? We'll never know. But you can only deal or play with the cards that are dealt to you. And I thought he was really good. He was a really good player tonight for the Edmonton Oilers.
One more time to the Weiss Johnson soundbox. Connor Ingram asked a really good question. I love this question from Paige Martin. She met his dad, I think Brent, I want to say. Sorry if I got that wrong. My apologies. And she noticed how calm Ingram's dad was. And so she asked him this post-game.
Is the calm demeanor that you have from him?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, I think he was a referee more than a player, so he definitely knows how to de-escalate and take control of the situation. He's also a teacher, so he knows how to command a room when it's time. And no, that's probably where it comes from. I mean, he's a pretty stoic human being. There's not a lot that ever flusters him or gets to him. So if I would guess that's where it comes from, yeah.
All right, there you have it. Tomorrow night's game against the Predators. Chris Knobloch was not asked post-game who starts tomorrow night, but our understanding is Jarry is there and potentially available. We could see Jarry go tomorrow night against the Nashville Predators. I'm not sure which way it's going to go, but they have a pathway to getting both he and Wallman off of LTIR. I saw Gregor put out a tweet earlier tonight using some information from Hart Levine at Puckpedia, who was always fantastic. I'll just see if I can find it here. I'll just read you Gregor's tweet here. And again, this is all Puckpedia's information. But basically saying the Oilers can activate Wallman and Jarry and put Henrique on LTIR and not have to send anyone down. So there you go. They can go 13-7-3. So basically carry 3 goaltenders. So Pause on that. We're going to get back to that goaltending discussion in a couple of minutes. Struds, let's get to our storylines next. Courtesy our friends over at Play Alberta. We'll remind you, keep an eye on our socials on game days because we'll always tweet out a potential betting line for that game that night that we think is tied in to an interesting story. Struds, brought to you by Play Alberta.
Yeah, if you want access to odds boosts on every Oilers game all season long, Play Alberta has you covered. From major winners every hour to hundreds of popular games and jackpots worth millions to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to join the fun. Download the all-in-one Play Alberta app today to find out if you're Alberta's next winner. Must be 18 plus to play. Remember to use your game sense.
All right, and these are Zuby's storylines. He runs this one for us. Zuby, what did it look like today, pal?
Well, we hit on something today. We had Connor McDavid to continue his point streak. I didn't go too deep on that. Just 1 point. So we had that there. And then we had Connor Ingram with 22 or more saves, which he achieved quite easily. So nice little parlay there. So hopefully some folks got in on that over at Play Alberta.
What were the odds on that, buddy? That's a heck of a call for you.
It was about 3-1. It wasn't huge.
2.6 to 1. Yeah.
I did hem and haw about bumping Ingram's saves up a little bit. So I had some room there, but we wanted to get a confidence builder, you know. Yeah,
I like it. McDavid kept it going, Struds. He's just been blitzing around all over the place. He just looks so good right now. And, shooting the puck lots. Like, this is just it really is something to be watching him. Are we at 19 games? He's at 19 games now? Is that where it is?
I believe so, yeah. Yeah. He's a half stroke faster than everybody else out there. And you're used to have the camera. He'd just go like a half notch quicker. And that's what he's doing. He always does, but he's done it for so long right now. It might be the best I've ever seen him play. I've watched pretty much all of his games since he was, born into the NHL, and man, does he look good. So, what are we about a month away from the Olympics or so, give or take?
Games will start on the 12th. We're actually 1 month away from Canada's first game, which I believe is on the 12th against Czechia.
So really close, and he's feeling it right now. So if you're a Canadian fan, that's huge.
How would he look with Macklin Celebrini on his wing?
Try to see what they do.
Muted.
It felt like last year they had a really tough time trying to figure that out, what to do with Connor.
Yeah.
And there's Brownie right there. And so you can start him there. I don't know if that lasts for the whole tournament, but Celebrini has earned that spot or that opportunity, guys. Good evening, Brownie.
Hi, Brownie.
Are you talking about Macklin Celebrini?
Yeah, we're talking about how he'd look on McDavid's wing.
Well, if I'd have permanent marker right now on that chalkboard, he's playing with Connor McDavid. He can think like McDavid. He can skate like McDavid. That's a no doubter. You kept looking for players to play with Connor last time. I think you found him in a 19-year-old kid that could have been at the World Juniors. So he's playing with him.
Fundamentally, is he a puck transporter though? Like I probably don't watch them enough to be able to comment really knowledgeably on this, but does a lot of his mojo and a lot of his offense and a lot of him feeling it come from grabbing the puck, skating up ice? It was a very small sample size that they tried McDavid with Taylor Hall. But I would say when you're a puck transporter, to try and play with another one of those guys can be a little bit difficult for some people at times, Brownie.
He is, but the majority of the players that are going to be playing for Team Canada are puck transporters. You start thinking of Marner, McKinnon, going down Lake Point. He'll take the puck, go the length of the ice. Like, they got a lot of guys that are capable. But smart players, great players that have high hockey IQs can play with anybody. And I would put Celebrini in the high hockey IQ. And again, there's not much time in the Olympics. I mean, how often did you see Connor going end to end in the Olympics? You don't have that time. You have to move the puck more. So I don't think they'll be transporting as much as they usually do because there's no mismatches in the Olympics. Everybody
in that tiny little matchbox rink, little 30 by 30 rink. I really like this point made by Canadian 123 saying McKinnon and Natchez are making it work in Colorado. That's a great point because Nate just fundamentally was a puck transporter as well. Great point there, Canadian at 1-2-3. Okay, Brownie, we're kind of close to the end of our first segment, so want to get all of your thoughts on the game and such. We're going to come back after this break, and we'll get to Brownie Points so you can lay out some of your thoughts on the game. But the last segment I want to knock off here, Struds, before we get to break, is crunching the numbers, brought to you by our friends at McDonald's. And Sport Logic always tracks those great stats during the game. We throw together ones that are interesting to us on a board for you, Struds, courtesy McDonald's.
If you love cheese, you'll love the new double cheesy melt at McDonald's. 200% Canadian beef patties, 2 slices of cheesy goodness with melty cheesy sauce, pickles, plus crispy and grilled onions. You don't just eat it, you melt into it. Only available for a limited time at McDonald's.
Okay, Zuby, you want to bring up the board there. Struds, which one stood out to you tonight? We've been keeping an eye on this ozone time and scoring chances off the rush and stuff. What did tonight say?
Well, for me, I'm going to start. Okay, I'll start at the beginning, I suppose. Puck and ozone time, the Oilers 22 minutes, Chicago 18. So I think we'd all agree that was what we saw with our eyes. Ozone possession time, the Oilers a couple more minutes, 7 minutes, and Chicago 5. Scoring chances off the rush, very little. For Chicago, 3, the Oilers had 8. But this was the one that the Oilers have to kind of review. Turnover scoring chances, 20 for the Oilers, 17 for the Blackhawks. That's a lot. And tonight, I thought Jack Roslovic, although he had none on the score sheet, which is interesting, maybe his dad was keeping track of those stats, he had a couple doozies. And that's the challenge with him at times is just that puck management. But the Oilers, even though the Oilers outdid them on the turnover scoring chances, giving up 17 to the Blackhawks without Bouchard or Nazar, Brownie, that's a really, really tough night for that stat.
It's really bad, and that's why Connor Ingram was such a big part of today's win. In a game that you didn't face Nazar or Bedard, and I didn't know half the players on the Blackhawks team. Ingram had to stand on his head at times because the Oilers, their mistakes tonight were huge. How many times did they just cough the puck right up in front of their own net? And that turnover, I thought that was a great set. That's a lot of turnovers. Both teams turned the puck over numerous times, but you would expect that out of Chicago. They're going to be a team that's on the outside looking in. You don't expect that from an Oiler team that's trying to compete for a Stanley Cup. So I thought the Oilers were very, very loose defensively in this hockey game and really forced Connor Ingram to have a big night to be able to get the 2 points.
Yeah, for sure. That was Crunching the Numbers, brought to you by friends over at McDonald's. Okay, going to get to a break here. When we come back, we'll come back with Brownie Points, and then we're going to get into the discussion, Brownie, about what do the Oilers do now on the goaltending front, because there's some real decisions to be made here. So we got Struddy's World, we got Ask Us Anything, so make sure you get your questions in. Zuby will be doing his best to grab a bunch of them. Want to continue to hear your thoughts on the goaltending situation, and if you don't mind, throw us a thumbs up when we're in the break. We'll be right back here on Got Your Back, presented by Timber House Developments.
Choosing to buy a home is one of the biggest financial and personal decisions you'll ever make. It's a decision that requires strategic planning, market expertise, and a trusted advisor to guide the way. The team at Body Realty with Royal LePage AR team combines deep market knowledge, forward-thinking guidance, and exceptional dedication to make the process effortless and stress-free. Where every client is treated like the only client, visit BattyRealty.com, a real estate group like no other.
At Modern Measure, every item of clothing starts from scratch and is designed from the ground up, based on both your style preferences and current fashion trends. Their clothing is fully designed to give you the exact look you're looking for, down to the smallest details and customization. The Modern team will work with you to make sure that you not only look and feel great, but make the most of your investment. On the ground floor of Edmonton Tower downtown, Modern Measure.
All right, welcome back to the show. Time now for us to get into Brownie Points, shall we? Brought to you by the Alberta Ram Dealers. Get 10 years of built-in confidence at your Alberta Ram dealer with Canada's best full-size truck limited powertrain warranty. Every new 2026 Ram truck comes with a 10-year, 160,000-kilometer warranty. Make sure you go check out this great machine at your Ram dealer today. Brownie.
Well, I'm going to start with 19 brownie points to the captain, Connor McDavid, as he extends his point scoring streak to 19 games. Connor probably could have had 5 points in the first period, but added a couple secondary assists to keep the streak alive. This is what separates the great ones from just the good ones. On a night where I don't think Connor was at his best, still found a way to get a couple points in this hockey game. I got 24.5 brownie points to the Oilers' Evan Bouchard, who had a wonderful game tonight. He had 2 goals and an assist, plus 3 on the night in his 24.5 minutes. Bouchard has continued his great play of late, and I thought was the Oilers' best player in this hockey game outside of Connor Ingram, who is getting 967 points, as Ingram stopped 29 of 30 for a 967 save percentage. This game was a battle of goaltenders tonight. I thought Spencer Knight was excellent in net for the Chicago Blackhawks, as Ingram was as well for the Edmonton Oilers. Both teams very loose defensively in front of their goaltenders. Both goaltenders had to make big save after big save. This has been 5 out of 6 games now, or 6 out of 7 games for Connor Ingram, where he has been very good. He is making, as we will talk about in a few minutes, decisions harder for the coaching staff and the GM. I got 3 brownie points to the Oilers' third line. With the Oilers having their fathers in the stands tonight on this road trip, Knobloch wanted to make sure every player got a chance to play in front of their dad. First of all, kudos for Knobloch for doing that. So Mangiapane came in for Howard, and I thought the third line of Roslovic, Savoy, and Mangiapane was good. I thought they created a number of good looks for each other. We're very unlucky not to have a goal or 2 in this hockey game. I thought Mangiapane had a good hockey game. And I got 6 brownie points to the entire bottom 6 of the Edmonton Oilers. Tonight may have been a season high for grade A scoring chances generated by the bottom 6, particularly the fourth line. When the team is playing back-to-back in 3 games and 4 nights, as they are right now, it was important that Chris Knobloch could look down his bench and feel comfortable putting any of the 4 lines on the ice. This may have been one of the best games the bottom 6 had all season long. They kept momentum going every shift they had. And those, my friends, are my brownie points.
You know, Brandon, really like your point about the third line, and I feel like there's pretty good chemistry between Roslovic and Savoy. I think there seems to be something there. The size is an issue. Let's not worried about that. But you know, did you see that, or do you feel that way? And then, not that Isaac Howard becomes irrelevant, but I think the left side, you got to find duo somewhere, and those two maybe have something going on that wasn't there a short time ago.
Well, in a perfect world, you could put those two together with someone big. Unfortunately, the Oilers don't have that player on their roster. I thought Mangiapane played well tonight. He created some good chances. The give and go where he gave Savoy the breakaway, that was a nice play by Mangiapane. This was the most interested I found Mangiapane in a hockey game this year. Part of it is dad's in the stand. The sitting out, whether he wants to get traded, whatever it is. But he was noticeable in this hockey game. But the third line, they created a lot. And I think they looked more dangerous tonight with Mangiapane than they had the last couple of games with Ike Howard.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair to say. Okay, let's get to the discussion on the goaltenders, shall we, and what they should do moving forward here. That's going to be our takeaways discussion. That's brought to you by Shandos Construction. Shandos doesn't just hire talent, they invest in it. 100% employee owned, so when their people grow, the whole company grows right along with them. Ready to build something that matters? You can apply now at shandos.com/apply. That's CHANDOS.com/apply. We think there's a chance Tristan Jarry will start tomorrow night. And so now the Oilers are faced with some decisions to make. I'll try and distill this down the best I can for people that haven't necessarily kept up with all of it. You've got some choices here. Like, Calvin Pickard requires waivers to go down to the minors, and I think there's a very good chance he would get picked up. So if you wanted to go with just Jarry and Ingram and risk Pickard on waivers, there's some risk involved with that. Ingram can get sent down and not require waivers if you do that in the next few games here. But you've arguably got your guy who's been the most consistent in the NHL in the last month and last 2 months, now back down in the American Hockey League when you're desperate for good goaltending up here and would love nothing more than to give him more runway. And then there's the option of trying to keep all 3. But if you do that, now you run into pushing Ingram past the number of starts allowed for him to not need waivers to go down. So there's risk all over the place. And really, this is about what the Oilers' priorities are. So the question is here, Struddy, what would you do and how would you play this? The choices are really simple. Do you risk Pickard on waivers and send him down and run with the other two? Do you keep 3 and try and make it work for another week and a bit here? Keeping in mind, you got to be careful with Ingram starts. Or do you just send Ingram down and go Pickard and Jarry until the break and see what happens?
Well, there's 2 things that I really hate. One is losing a goalie I like on waivers, and 2 is having 3 goalies for practice. So I've got to choose which one I least like, and I'm going to go losing Pickard on waivers would be the thing I least like. You need 3 goalies. Now, a lot of people are hot and horny on Connor Unger. I played in U Sports, and he's having a pretty good run in the AHL, but that's a great story. That's the future. I think you can be patient with that, but to count on that is risky. So I don't want to lose any of the goalies, Brownie. So for that reason, although I hate it, 3 goalies it is for a while.
Well, it bugs me that the goalie down the minors, Connor Unger, because I mess that up all the time now. Because we start talking about him, and then now I'm like, Connor Unger makes a knife save. No, it was Connor Ingram. But to me, it's simple. This is simple for me. Connor Ingram goes to the minors. He goes down and he plays. Tristan Jarry's, they're going to want to get him up and running. Calvin Pickard, the backup goaltender. So you're going to send Ingram down, and he's going to play. You don't want 3 goalies up here. It doesn't work. 3 goalies doesn't work in practice. It doesn't work in games. If Connor Ingram goes down, he gets to continue to improve. He gets to continue to play lots of hockey. To me, it's a no-brainer. And I know the one thing you said, there's a certain amount of games that Connor Ingram can have, but isn't there a certain amount of time too? I thought it was 30 days. So I think there's also, so if you run him 30 days, and then you can't send him down without him going through waivers as well. So to me, it's simple. You keep Jarry and Pickard, you send Ingram down to the minors to continue to improve, because you cannot, as we all agree with, you cannot lose Pickard, because you have to have 3 goalies. The Oilers' number 1 goalie is injury prone. He's already been out for an extended period of time twice in the first half of the season. So if you lose Pickard on waivers and all of a sudden Jarry gets hurt, now you're down to Connor Ingram and Connor Unger. And we have no idea how those guys will be come playoff time. So for me, Connor Ingram goes down to the minors.
Yeah, and there's something I'm unsure of. I wasn't able to get a hold of Hart tonight to clarify. I was told when they first called him up that the 30 games wasn't a threshold for Ingram because of the nature of the emergency recall, and that it was more the 10-game mark that was more relevant. So I'm not certain if both of those are triggers or if just one of them is, and that could matter here because we're getting into that range. They could just go 3 goalies here for a few days just to kind of make this work till they sputter through this road trip. If you want to start Jarry next game, start him next game. And you can carry 3. You can fit him under the cap. Maybe you throw Ingram one more start. I'm not sure where the 30-day mark is. You could throw him one more start against the Islanders, and then you send him down at that point. So run him right up to the edge of it, maybe squeeze him another start, and then down he goes. But I tend to be more on your side of your guys' side of things too. I think that the organization should make the decision that allows them the best chance at 3 usable goalies, because I don't want to say that Jarry's injury prone. Like over the course of his career, he has not been, Brownie, but I think more the point is recently he's been struggling with injuries, right? His last 16 months, say, which compared to his whole career isn't that much time, but recently he's struggled with injuries. He's in a zone where he's struggling with injuries, and you do not want to mess with losing Pickard on waivers and then something going wrong with Jarry. Look at what the Vancouver Canucks are dealing with Demko.
Well, then the thing is right now, because of all of the injuries around the National Hockey League to goalies, Calvin Pickard would be a hot commodity. I mean, Ottawa. Yeah. I mean, they just signed Reimer. I don't even know where Reimer was. They just brought him in there. Vancouver, Demko's gone. Yeah. And Calvin Pickard's proven He's proven over the last couple of years he's come up big at different times. So to me, Calvin Pickard would get picked up, and then that would really hurt the Oilers going forward if they don't have a quality third goaltender.
You're muted there, big guy.
Sorry, he's cheap. Very, very cheap backup.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the thing to remember with the salary cap of the playoffs this year is if you have a cheap backup that can actually, you can trust to win some games, there's huge value in that because teams might not want a $3.5 million backup sitting under a baseball cap because, that's less that you can put in the lineup. So it's not just fringe teams that might be interested in picking up this goalie. There might be playoff teams that look at their goaltending matrix and go, look, are we willing to make a move here to get our number at the backup position down to $1 million? Because the starter is one they run so hard anyways. And Brownie, the fact that Pickard's done it in the playoffs, I mean, that exponentially increases the chances he gets picked up, regardless of what his numbers are this year.
Well, you add it a little bit further. What if you have two goalies that you like better than Calvin Pickard, for example, but in the playoffs, one of them plays, the other guy sits in the press box, and you put Pickard in just as your backup because that might save you $1.5 million, $2 million. You don't ever plan on playing, for example, Calvin Pickard in any games, but you back him up every game because it saves you whatever millions of dollars and allows you to put a different player in.
And you trust him if you do want to go to him.
Because he has. 100%. So I think Calvin Pickard will be a popular person if he were to be put on waivers by everyone in the National Hockey League because of his salary. As Strud said, he's cheap.
Yeah. Zuby, can you give us a bit of a sense? And it's the subject of our DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center YouTube poll tonight. Super active the chat has been tonight on this front, Zuby. And we want to give people an opportunity to chime in a little bit. Can you give us a bit of sense of the dialogue happening on the chat and which way this is leaning?
Yeah, very much so. Let's see what I've got here. Macro saying Ingram is by far the better backup technically, and I believe his upside is infinitely more than Pickard. As a backup, it's a no-brainer. Schmapp saying, if you lose Pickard to waivers and then Jarry gets hurt again 2 days later, what then? Canadian feeling like Pickard would get claimed by a desperate team like Ottawa. Gabriella saying we cannot risk picks. Here's a good one from Anxious Donaire. He says, is everyone smoking wackier tobacco than me, knowing his body of work this season? How can you say Pickard is playing well enough to solidify a spot on the team? And of course, Ace 96, he's got a bunch of comments. He's very strongly in the camp that the Oilers cannot lose Calvin Pickard, cannot risk losing him to waivers, and he's been very, very steadfast on that.
The nuance in the discussion is the asset management people. You have to think asset management. It can't just simply be which goalie you think gives you a better chance to win a game on any given night right now, Struds. Like asset management in this situation has to take precedence over who's got the lead in the race.
Yeah, I think it was Brownie that said, if you lose, we got to go get someone else. Well, that's more assets to go get someone else. And that's the problem. They don't have a lot of assets. So you already have the asset in-house. So keep them. I'd be floored if we saw this guy go on waivers. Floored.
Well, and I think we all would agree. I'm speaking for all of us here. We have our goalies rated Jarry, Ingram, Pickard. Do we not? Is on our depth chart, skill-wise. Yeah. I mean, to me, Ingram has outplayed Pickard. So to me, it goes to asset management. The reason you're sending down Ingram isn't because we think Pickard is better. We're sending Ingram down, if we do, because we know that Pickard will be gone. So we're trying to keep three goalies. And as the season moves on, then you can make a decision going further or going forward and come playoff time. Well, now you can go with the two best goalies that you want.
Yeah. The thing I would say, Brownie, and this is a really good problem for them. Are you confident that give these two goalies, Ingram and Jarry, 10 starts each, which one's going to be better over that stretch? I think Ingram, the way he's playing right now, might be able to give Jarry a run. I don't know, Struds. Am I overshooting? Like 6 out of 7 games, he's been pretty good in there, man.
He has been, that's for sure. But if you're an Oilers fan, you hope that happens. You hope that you're like, hey, which one are we playing? Like, that would be the best situation. They're like, well, we got to give this guy a game. We got to give this. So, the fact that Jarry's out, it kind of muddles the conversation. But I think that you want to see that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the last time the Oilers got a little jammed up at a position and got into some asset management issues and had to figure out what to do? Troy Stetcher's out the door because Alec Regula is here. And I mean, it's a little bit of a different situation. There was no pathway to an easier solution there. They were probably going to lose one of the two of them, but you have to manage these assets. You can't lose these players on the fringe because, man, they can be difficult to replace. Struds, let's do our DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center YouTube poll, my friend.
Brought to you by our buddy at DeBoer's. It's a new year, which means it's time for a new you. Make more birdies on the course in 2026 with the help of Scotty and TJ at DeBoer's. Skip the diet and get fit for your new golf equipment. Scheduling your new fitting today is easy. Visit DeBoersGolf.com or go chat with the team in the shop about your golf goals for 2026.
I love that you're doing these for me, buddy, but we got to buy you a printer so you can print them off in hard copy. I got your back with spring for that.
Like a nice dot matrix that you peel the things off. Yeah. Okay, so here's the question tonight. We've already been in it, but we've opened it up, of course, to the chat to get in on this as well. And lots of votes coming in. The question tonight is, with Tristan Jarry about to return from injury, what should the Oilers do with the goaltenders? Number one is safe option, send Ingram down for now. Now, option number two is time to risk Calvin Pickard to waivers. And option number three is run with three and figure it out later. And it's really even so far. And we're talking about almost 400 votes already. And it could still land on any of those, if I'm being honest.
Quick straw poll. I'm not sure if this was the plan or not, but would you just roll right out in the cream-colored jerseys again tomorrow, Brownie? It's 5-0 now, I think, isn't it?
They look
just
good.
Roll them out again.
Like well, they got them. You may as well wear them.
What's the rules there? Do you have to submit to the league probably and tell them when you're using them?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Even if you didn't submit, you could just say you forgot the other ones or they got lost on an airplane. You can get around that.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I don't really like these jerseys, but honestly, no one cares about like what I think about the jerseys. And I don't really care about the jerseys, but I wouldn't, that's not my favorite one of the third jerseys.
I think there's something about home team. Like home team gets to choose, because even sometimes home team wears a light colored jersey. So I think home team gets to choose. And if they wear their darks like they're supposed to, then can the Oilers just say, okay, we're wearing these ones instead of our whites? I don't know.
Captain Crunch is saying that they're wearing them. So I'm not sure if that's already been announced or if there's a schedule that's available.
Sagar. I thought they announced it on the game. I thought they announced it on TV tonight. I thought they did.
Okay. All right. I may have missed that. That was our YouTube poll. Interested to see the way that one is going to flesh out and what the results will be now that we've had a chance to chat that one through a little bit. Okay. More decisions to be made in the lineup, and that's going to take us, Struds, to our core adjustments. And that is brought to you by our good buddy Tom Lesko and our friends over at HSE Core Services.
Need a safety program? They build it. Need it managed? They do it. Stuck dealing with those online safety registries your clients make you sign up for? Yep, they handle those too. And yes, they also do core audits. Visit www.hsccore.com. That's HSECOR.com for more info.
Okay, good stuff. So Jake Wallman, we think there's a chance that he'll be ready to go tomorrow. I'm not sure if there are any more updates post-game. I didn't hear anything from the coach. I'm not sure if Stoff was saying much over on 880. Brownie, when he's on the road with the team, he tends to have a pretty good handle on that. Which way was he leaning?
It sounds like both Jarry and Wallman will play tomorrow.
Yeah, that's sort of what Stoff was leaning at. Okay, so Ekholm, Bouchard, Darnell Nurse, Wallman. And then what do you got on your final pairing there?
Stastny, Emberson.
Is I think pretty simple, you think? Emberson just goes? Yep.
That's what I would go. I think he's played well enough right now. I think he's outplayed Regula, so I would go with that. And then you won't keep Regula out long. I think there will be a way that they move them around, but tomorrow I would have Emerson and Regula out.
It's quite a reversal from the way we've talked about Regula for the last 45 games, Brownie, but I'll agree with you. I think that Regula should come out and put Stastny and Emerson on the third pairing.
Yeah. What do we think of Emerson's game here? Like, this guy has a chance. I mean, depending on what the Oilers do at the deadline, this guy's got a chance to play playoff games this year. But, you know, his game is still up and down a little bit. He's kind of all over the place. He's a third pairing D-man. But is he a 6? Is he a 7? Like, what have we thought of his engagement in this fight for minutes? Because it's not just about Regula dropping the ball. Like, Emerson needs to grab it too, Struddy.
Well, listen, he played playoff games last year, right? He played 9 playoff games, so it's not like he's a virgin heading in there. Like, he knows what it's like. He's been around. And I think that he's carrying his game pretty well, a little bit further this year. He's got to be a simple game. Move the puck, be physical, and quite honestly, to steal what Brownie says all the time, don't get noticed. Just literally do not be noticed. Eat your 15 minutes and just say thank you and walk out the door. You know, he and Stastny are trying to figure it out. Am I comfortable with that as your third pairing in the Stanley Cup final? Right now, I'm not. That is probably not the solution, but that's what they have right now. So if they add someone, I guess it helps. It has to be a bit more of a veteran presence, Brownie.
I've said all along, I think the Oilers need a veteran presence, a 4 or 5 guy, in case one of their top 4 gets hurt. And we've seen that as of late. We haven't been happy with Regula. If Wallman was out, I don't think we want Emerson in the top 4. And if Stastny goes up there, well, now your bottom pairing is going to struggle. So to me, Emerson is a 7. I think Regula is a 7. I think Stastny is a 6. And I think the Oilers need a veteran guy. And I'm just thinking, when you start playing against the big physical teams or the speed of the Colorado Avalanche, do you trust Emerson or a Regula facing the speed of, like, Colorado's not just McKinnon and Nakash. Colorado, they won the other night 4-0, and their best players had 0 points. They are a deep team that is fast. So to me, I think the Oilers need another defenseman.
Yeah, I mean, where are we at on Stastny's ability to play up if he needs to? You know, that was kind of the big question when they moved on from Kulak. Where can this guy get to?
He's not there now. He had a rough night the other night playing beside him. Can he get there? Yeah, why not? Like, I don't think it's not possible, but it's not possible right now. If the playoffs started tomorrow, game 83, I'd feel uncomfortable with him beside Nurse. On the third pairing, okay, I can live with that, but not beside Nurse. So they don't have anyone beside Nurse unless it's Wallman.
Okay. That was Core Adjustments, brought to you by HSE Core Services. Quick break. When we come back, we're going to take a lap around the National Hockey League, see what else is going on out there, and Struddy's world as well. Plus, ask us anything. Stay with us here on Got Your Back, presented by Timberhouse Developments.
For over 60 years, Belvedere Golf and Country Club has delivered a high-quality membership experience to Edmonton and area. And now it's even better. Drainage and irrigation improvements in 2024 have taken course conditions to a new level. This commitment to long-term sustainability means exceptional playing conditions all season long. Belvedere's tee sheet availability is unmatched, so join now and experience golf the way it was meant to be played, on your schedule. Visit BelvedereGCC.com today.
The new McVeggie, now at McDonald's.
Let's see what else is going on out there in the world of hockey in our Take a Lap segment, brought to you, Struds, by our pals over at Riverside Motorsports.
Your multi-brand motorsports dealer serving Edmonton for over 55 years, offering a wide selection of new and pre-owned motorcycles, ATVs, side-by-sides, snow bikes, e-bikes, and snowmobiles for industry-leading brands. Check them out online at www.riversidemotorsports.com. All right, guys.
And that's Moto Sports.
Moto. Isn't that what I said, Moto? thought I said Moto.
No, you did, but I'd been saying it wrong for a little while, so I'm just wanting to remind people, if you're checking out the website, it's Moto Sports and not Motor Sports. I made that mistake a couple times.
All right, let's get to it. Brownie's buddy out in Columbus. Dean Evison and my former D partner, Steve McCarthy, a longtime assistant coach with that team, were released today. Donnie Waddell said everyone's disappointed of what's happening. And they bring in another former coach of mine to kind of make it happen. And my name escapes me right now. I don't even remember him.
Rick Bowness.
Rick Bowness. Yeah, Bones is in there. So he's back in, hadn't coached for a little while, 70 years old, comes out of the studio to help that team that I could guess you could squint and say they've been underachieving, Brownie, but I think they've also had some injury issues with that team.
Yeah, I mean, Dean Evison is a year and a half from being coach of the year. I mean, I was surprised, really surprised by this. And then I'm guessing, my guess is bonus is just for the remainder of the season. Then they'll start a coaching search. I'm not sure he's your long-term answer. I thought he was done hockey. I mean, we had John Shannon. Yeah.
In 24, he retired, left the Jets, retired.
Well, John Shannon was on our show tonight, and he said he had bonus on his podcast last week, and he talked about how he loves spending time with his family. He's planning this big vacation, this trip. There was no thought in his mind of ever coaching again. So to me, shocking, absolutely shocking. But I wish them success. Columbus is a team I cheer for.
Last place in the Eastern Division with 45 points. Next up, Braden Point. Injured today. His knee went down. Was it knee or ankle? We're not sure. Post game, John Cooper didn't really have much to say. Didn't really know much. Said that it's too bad because his game has been coming around. But I've watched about half of the injury happen, Brown. Then I passed out because it looked gross. So I'm not sure exactly how it ended. But this could be an opportunity for someone else if Point is unable to go a month from now. 30 days from the Olympics, day one.
Yeah, it's too bad. And you feel for any player. I mean, it's a dream come true playing in the Olympics and to be that close and to go down with injury. I'm like you. I wouldn't watch injuries. When I used to do the color on TV, I would tell the people watch yourself. I won't watch it. It grosses me out as well. Does it open the door for a Bennett or a Bedard or a Zach Hyman? If you're starting to look, they say they have players that play the same type. If Point is out, he would be a power forward goal scorer guy. Is that what Hyman does? Is that what Bedard does? So I hope he's healthy and back and ready because I just don't want anyone to miss out on a dream because of an injury. But if Strud's turned away, it's probably not a good thing.
No, it's just, I find it gross. And lastly, the Edmonton Oilers signed an extension with Quinn Hudson. A 2-year extension, one way, about the same money, $8 and change, $850 or whatever. He's doing a really good job with the minors right now. I still want to see more of this player, and I think that's a good thing. I'm not saying he's ready or he's going to be a fixture in this team, but I want to see more. And for a guy that was, brought in the way he was with Edmonton Oilers, it's a very positive development, Brownie.
Yeah, I think only injuries will have him up this year. He will be most likely, unless there's major injuries, a black ace for the playoffs. But I would expect him to be part of the Edmonton Oilers team next year and going forward. So the Oilers went out and found some youth. And hopefully he'll be part of the Oilers organization for a long time.
What do we read into the actual contract, guys? So details from Puckpedia here. So a 2-year, $875K cap hit. Year one, he's got an $850,000 salary, $400,000 in the minors. $500,000 of the contract is guaranteed. And then in year two, he's got a $900,000 salary. And then he'll be an RFA when the contract is up. But, he's going to make a lot of money here either way, Struds. And a lot of times on these two ways, you don't see that with everyone on these deals where they can play in the American League too. They're paying this guy.
I'm not an insider, but I feel hearing that they believe he'll be an NHL player. I think that's what they're trying to. They don't just hand those out to good guys, although I guess they do, but the good guys might, they'd be a lot lower than that. So, Brownie, I feel comfortable thinking that they view him as a solution to getting younger at this group rather soon.
Yeah, I agree. I think that going forward, he's part of their team next year. He might get a little look-see here or there with injuries this year, but to me, he is a next year player, and the contract to me says that. You're going to make one-way contract next year. We'd prefer you play in Edmonton as opposed to with the Condors.
If he keeps lighting it up, and he's signed like this for a couple more years now, but if he keeps lighting it up down there, what about him as a trade asset for the team, Struds? What about him as, how do you feel about moving him if that's who people are asking for?
It depends who you're getting.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. So I guess my gut is I'm always, I know everyone's going to win now, and I get that. You got to win. You got to go. You got to win. But you also need players to play with these guys for the next few years at least. And I'd like to think that Quinn Hudson could be one of those guys. Now, are him and Savoy the same? So do you need two of them? You know, or is there room for both of them on this team? And I'm not sure. I'm not sure there is. So maybe one becomes expendable. Brownie.
Well, to me, Hudson would be more expendable than Savoy. I think Savoy has found his way as a penalty killer on this team. And I don't know if Quinn Hudson will find his way as a penalty killer on this team. So if you're going to move one of them, I don't think Savoy is the guy. I think Hudson would be a guy, and he's an asset. Every player is an asset. If you can find something that makes you better, then you would move him. I have no problem with that if you can make your team better this year. And I mean, this is a win first or win. It's cup or bust. They haven't said it this year, but it's cup or bust.
Yeah. I just wonder what he can turn into. Like, you know, sample size in the American Hockey League says, he's putting up numbers at a hell of a pace here, having moved to this part of his career. And certainly be interesting to see, you know, where he can take it. Every once in a while, one of these guys really develops, Brownie, and becomes something.
Well,
every once in a while.
And then you throw in the fact too that the family bloodlines. This is a talented family, so they've had some success, and the best one might not even be here yet. He might be still in college. So,
Crazy.
It would be hard. It would be hard to get. It would hard to be trade him away, and then all of a sudden he turns into a legitimate top 6 player somewhere else for 8 to 10 years.
All right, that was our Taking a Lap segment brought to you by Riverside Moto Sports. Time for Struddy's World. Zuby, go ahead and roll the animation, buddy.
When you make a mistake, heads should roll. It's not right. And I'm here. Someone has to put their foot down. Now that I say it out loud, it does sound a little crazy. Gotta look good.
I'm going to make you read your own ad read, Struddy. You got to introduce yourself. Let's see how this goes.
Yeah. Well, this is Brownie's favorite segment, brought to you by our good buddies at Battery Realty at Royal LePage, our team realty. Bring your friends and family down to the brand new Edmonton Sports Center to witness a first of its kind 24-hour pickleball showdown in support of Alberta's Long, 7 to 7 p.m., January 23rd and 24th. Cheer on the Warriors, enjoy food and drinks at the Big Deal Lounge, play door prize games, and help them hit their goal of $100,000. Check out ablung.ca for more information or to donate. All right, guys. I was rather rude to Scuba Steve, the other day. We kind of talked about our ideas for resolutions, and he said he's going dry January. And I initially rejected it so quick. His head was spinning, but I knew the truth. I too am actually doing a dry January, not in the more traditional way that I believe Steve's doing and many other people where they don't drink. I've turned my back literally on charcuterie boards. Oh yes, I had a problem in the holidays. I was attacking charcuterie boards like it was my job. I was an absolute animal, a predator, a terminator, searching and destroying those things. I was peeing out salami. It was insane how much I had inside my body. But all the January, I'm proud to say, I haven't had one. I know it's only 12 days, but guys, you got to start somewhere. So yes, dry January for me, no charcuterie boards. And Steve, I apologize. I shouldn't have attacked you so aggressively.
Seriously, where do you find a charcuterie board in January anyways? Like where are you going? Like you just come home and Shonda's got a charcuterie board out for you like at 4:00, little snacky poo while you watch the Flintstones? Like seriously.
What did you go ahead, Struds?
I went with my sister's yesterday. She had a quasi one for lunch. Did I indulge in olives like I did for all the holidays? No. I turned away. I pushed away. I showed some strength that many of us don't usually possess at this time of year.
Aren't olives one of the things on a charcuterie board that's actually not bad to go ahead and eat?
Yeah, but the point is you can't pick and choose, right? Someone who need of a change, you can't just pick and choose. Well, I'll have chips, but I won't have cookies, or I'll have Slurpees, but I won't have beer. Like, you've got to embrace the whole thing. That's the idea behind Dry in January.
I got my neighbor across the street for Christmas gave us a box of Nanaimo bars, and there was 40 in there. And I'm like, we're having them. So I said, I'm going to put them in the freezer. I'm going to put them in the freezer, and I'm going to throw them out. I look today, we're down to 6. And like, I'm getting up with my coffee, having a Nanaimo bar for breakfast. We're down to 6. So I'm going to throw the last 3 out and feel good about myself in January that we only ate 37. I don't think my wife has had one either. I think it's all me.
They're so good. My neighbor Linda makes Nanaimo bars, and that was the last place I saw a charcuterie board. I destroyed it. The board and the bars.
So we'll get to charcuterie in just a second here, but my philosophy on Nanaimo bars, I've said this on the show a couple of times. Nanaimo bars, they need to be tiny. They need to be bite size.
Oh boy!
Because here's the thing about Nanaimo bars: you take one bite, and you're like, just stay with me. You take one bite, and you're like, this might be the best dessert on the planet ever. You take the second bite and you're like, yeah, it's good. That's pretty sweet though. Whew, that's pretty sweet. And you still got a third bite left. And that third bite is, I eat that third bite and I'm like, I'm never having another one of these again. Ever.
Okay,
it's too much,
first of all,
too sweet.
Are you a little mouse? Like, who takes 3 bites to eat a Nanaimo bar? Like 2 at the most. And like,
depends on the portions being cut.
I don't know.
You know, the Brownie or Rishaug loses so much credibility when he makes a comment like that. It's like when you walk into a party. You work out? Yeah, I work out. I ride the elliptical. Credibility lost. Just like move right over. Everyone loves a Nanaimo bar. Everybody.
Yes, 100%. Absolutely.
Look at Sarah. That is so true about Nanaimo bars. LOL. They're too sweet. You have to go smaller portions. Rishaug is a dainty eater. Easy, simple. I'm not dainty.
I bet you if we did a dental check on Sarah, we'd discover soft teeth as well. That's a trend.
Spent an hour in the dentist chair this morning getting that chipped tooth fixed up, those Struds, from too many olives at Christmas. Back to charcuterie real quick. I saw this firsthand, but it's not just a you problem. It's a family problem you have. Because when you guys came over to the Got Your Back Christmas party, I would say that it was more Shona who was like, Shona was hunkered over that thing like a lion hunkered over a wildebeest over that charcuterie board on our table.
She doesn't have the willpower I have to resist, right? And I'm working with her. That's what you do as a partner. You support your partner. But yeah, if you see her on the street, remind her. She doesn't have the willpower to stay away from these boards. Oh, she doesn't get into the Nanaimo bars. Our neighbor Linda, I pretty much ate them all, just like Brownie.
All right. Anything else on this, Zuby? You got any chimes? You got anything you want to add into this mess? Any other people saying anything?
Well, I don't know if this is offside or not from Blommer. No, I'm not going to say that one. My name, Jeff, says if you eat too many Nanaimo bars, you can pull your groin. So that's, I can see there's
just waiting to happen.
Can we talk about your choice of words, Struds? I was peeing out salami. That's a weird thing to say.
I'm just trying
to. First person ever to say that. I guarantee.
And you're not wrong. But I'm just trying to tell you how much I had in me, right? Like just absolutely annihilating. Like it's so good. But you know what? I'll say this: I don't appreciate cheddar cheese on a charcuterie board. I have a higher level. I like a white hard cheese, a grano padano, something like that.
It needs to be 2 to 3 cheeses for it to be quality. Yes. You need options.
You gotta have some soft cheese on there too that you can take off with the knife and like squish it on your crackers.
Oh,
how do you feel about blue cheese?
And a lot of pickles.
Blue cheese, Brownie, are you into the blue cheese on there?
No, not blue cheese. Blue cheese is gross.
Yeah, I'll take a few bites to be polite.
Underrated and needed on a charcuterie board is cranberry. Like cranberries.
Oh my God.
Like the little sweet cranberries. Yeah, really good.
Time to go. You've just lost it all.
You just ruined it. Like seriously, we had a good conversation going until you did that.
No, it just ruined you guys. Like those crazy things.
Randine just unplugged her computer. and lock the door.
How about a pineapple next, Shogger? Says Oilers forever. What the hell are you talking about, Ryan? Never heard of that one, Shog. And Paul Wood has a vote for pickles as an underrated.
Yeah, that's fine.
Absolutely.
I can live with that.
I love pickles.
That's
Can
reasonable.
we let's do something on a charcuterie boards tomorrow night? Like I don't know what, but let's make it our poll or something like that. But we need to follow up this conversation tomorrow night on the show.
I want to see how many
charcuterie.
votes you get for cranberries on your charcuterie board. Can we make sure we get that in the vote?
Yeah.
All right, that's enough. Brownie, you're out of here, buddy. Thank you kindly.
Get some
All
sleep.
right, guys. Good night. See you tomorrow.
buddy.
Bye.
All right. Before we hit the break, Struddy, let's get over to our scoreboard. And that scoreboard is brought to you by the Bridge Fit.
Whether you're aiming to stay pain-free or hit a new personal best as part of your 2026 resolution, the physios, chiros, massage therapists, and strength coaches at the Bridge are here to help, treating the communities of Edmonton, Short Park and Lethbridge, and the new St. Albert location opening soon. Check them out or book your first session at www.thebridge.fit. All right, guys, lots of games tonight. It was a full house, not quite, but damn close. 9 games that are taking place tonight. The Kraken come back and beat the Rangers 4-2. Man, the Rangers are in a dark spot, a really dark spot. The Panthers 4-3 over the Sabres. That's a big win for them. On the road, I should mention. The Canucks get doubled up by the Canadians 6-3 shots, 41-23 in that one. Not ideal for sure. The Wild lose to the Mighty Devils. I should mention that one. Dougie Hamilton returned to the lineup after missing 2 games as a healthy scratch. Don't think that probably happened to him too many times in the past. In overtime, the Maple Leafs take down the mighty Avalanche. So it can
how about that?
These guys are really struggling. And finally, the Stars 3, Kings 1. Stars only get 18 shots in this one, but they do the Oilers a solid by beating the Kings.
Willie Nylander looks like got the overtime winner in that game against the Avalanche. And then the other one that's kind of notable, Struds, 5-2, the Devils get past the Minnesota Wild. It's been rough in Jersey here for a bit, and lots of discussion about that. Quinn Hughes and company roll, or actually that game was in Minnesota, but that could be an important win for the New Jersey Devils.
Well, so many teams in the East are looking for a reason to believe.
Yeah.
Like they're right now, the Devils are in 7th spot. They're in the wild card battle, and they're 4 points behind the Sabres, who are in 2nd spot. So they got to make up, 4 points and leapfrog 5 teams to get there. So can you make up 4 points? Yeah, you probably can. Can you beat 5 teams or leap 5 teams? That's a lot. So we're going to have a dogfight heading into the, I'd say we're like just rounding second base here.
Yeah. That was our scoreboard, brought to you by the Bridge Sports Therapy and Training. All right, we can take a break. Ask Us Anything is coming up. Can't wait to hear from you. Zuby has been collecting some of the comments. Feel free to send some more in over the break, and we will get to that coming up in just a minute. Stay with us here on Got Your Back, presented by Timber House.
So at Timber House, our guiding philosophy is naturally inspired living. We believe that through design, we can solve problems and enhance people's lives. We follow biophilic design principles in all of our builds to incorporate natural materials, natural light, to enhance all the spaces in a home. When you have your space perfectly reflect who you are and what you value, and it's made well, we think that that just leads to better living.
Why would you? Nobody puts in wood windows or siding anymore, so why put in wood fences? Maintenance-free vinyl fence from DLR is backed by a lifetime warranty and will save you time. Weekends are for playing, not painting. Go vinyl at dlrvinylproducts.ca.
Ask Us Anything is brought to you by Mortgages by Maria, powered by Dominion Lending Centers, Maximal Mortgages. If your mortgage renewal is coming up, don't just sign the first thing your bank puts in front of you. With the right strategy, you could save thousands and make sure your money works harder for you, not for the bank. Get smarter options and expert advice at mortgagesbymaria.ca. Maria doing some work for Randine and I here this last week. And again, can't stress enough how much she has the answers. Any answers that she does not have, she gets for you right away. And is just a delightful person to work with. So highly recommend Maria Gallus. Mortgagesbymaria.ca. All right, Zuby, let's roll through some of what the folks are saying.
Okay, let's go to My Name Jeff. He said third and fourth line were great, but they were also playing against a Bedardless, Nazarless Blackhawks team, not to be too much of a negative belly. Does the competition, is that relevant here, Schauger?
It's fair. I mean, that this is not a powerful team. Some of their better players were banged up. But I think in the world of Trent Frederick and the Oilers' depth, Struds, we'll kind of hold our noses a little and say, good game by that third and fourth line.
I would agree. I think you're looking, when game is not where you want it to be, you're looking for any reason to believe in what you're doing. You're heading the right way, whether it's a new regiment on the ice, off the ice, coaching, whatever it is. So this is really important that he had something decent tonight.
Quick 121 saying, loved how the Oilers honored the dads today, showed lots of class. Where there's a successful son, there's a supportive dad behind him. Struddy, did they do the dad's trip when you were playing? I know it's a new-ish thing.
Yeah, we had him. Yeah, towards the end of my career, we had him. At the beginning of the career, we weren't even allowed to look at your parents in the stands. And now we're wearing Batman costumes into the rink to support our son. No, I think they're great. I think I had a mom's trip maybe, or can't remember, but for sure a dad's trip. It's fun. It's really fun. The dads unless your dad played in the NHL, they have no idea what it's like. The day-to-day, the traveling, how we travel, all this stuff. So I thought it was really special to have that moment with my father.
My version of the dad's trip professionally was 2006 with the Olympics in Italy. My late father, Les, he had a good buddy of his, and they just jumped on a plane and came over to Europe, and they were just traveling around on trains, going stop to stop, and they landed in Turin, like they got to Turin in and around the time when I was there. But I was staying in, my accommodations changed last minute, so I had to stay in this tiny little Olympic quarters. And so they were there for 3 nights. Now, luckily, Gord Miller and Bob McKenzie and a bunch of the TSN guys were all staying in a nicer suite. And they let my dad and his buddy crash with them for a couple of nights. But for one night in this, it would have been 10 by 14. 3 males and a single bed. My dad and his buddy, my Uncle Rick, spooning on this single bed in this tiny little media. I'll never forget it. There's a picture somewhere. But that was my version of a dad's trip. He came on a work trip with me. He came on a bunch with me, but I'll never forget that time he came to the Olympics in Italy and snuggled on that tiny little bed with my Uncle Rick.
I would have assumed the next morning you guys would have said, and now let us never speak of this again, but you've broken that pact here.
Yeah, well, Dad's not around to give me shit for it, and Uncle Rick probably doesn't listen to the show from BC, so I think we're clear.
Okay, Paul Wood, this is kind of an interesting look ahead now. He says, question, who do the Oilers want in the first round? I don't think we're going to speculate there, but who maybe would you like to see them play with a chance to win the division? What would you like to see if all things equal, kind of the teams were playing as they are right now? Who'd you like to see as a first round matchup, Schauger?
I mean, I know who you don't want to, end up having to see it. I mean, let's assume that it'll be a wild card team, Struds. Like, are we thinking that they're going to grab a division?
I would like them to for the first time.
Yeah.
And I think it's up for grabs. I'll tell you who I want. I want the San Jose Sharks. Let's do it.
I was going to say, yeah.
Like the Sharks, to me, it's a no-brainer. That is the team. Even if you finish second, you get them. I would be so juicy, so excited to see that happen.
Well, let's adjust that, Struds. Of the teams that it could potentially be, so, I mean, like it could be, I don't know. Let's just throw the teams in there. Seattle, Utah, LA, Nashville, San Jose. Like, is there any? Who do you not want out of those teams?
I'll take
Like,
anything. I'll take.
Yeah.
There's no one I won't take.
Yeah.
Like so you said Seattle, the Sharks, the Kings, Utah, even I'll throw the Preds.
Preds are only a
Ducks.
couple points out.
There's not a team I wouldn't take. Like, and then let's throw that. I don't know. Am I being too cocky? Like, look at the other side. You know, you've got Dallas or Minnesota. I mean, that could be a first round matchup, man. I don't want that matchup. So
That's insane.
anyone, there's no one I wouldn't take of those teams you mentioned. Tell me I'm wrong, Stream, but geez, if you're worried about any of those teams that have been really bad for a long time and finally showing some signs of life, or teams that are punching above their weight in terms of Seattle Kraken, or a team of the Kings you've pounded for fun the last couple of years, 3 years.
I cheer for direct flights. So, but I would say let's just not have it be. Let's avoid Edmonton, LA. Let's just avoid that. It's monotony now. Yeah, it's done. Yeah.
And the funny thing is, it should be LA saying we don't want to play them anymore, and it's Oilers and Oilers fans saying please no more. Here's another interesting kind of playoff question from Paulie, and he says, "What Oilers will not be on the roster come playoff time? Is there a dark horse Oiler you could see moved that no one is talking about, or is there a player? Maybe you have a dark horse player that ends up on the playoff roster who we're not talking about right now, or maybe a guy like Clattenburg or Hudson or one of these guys who's just had a sniff." What do you think, Struddy?
You know what? I to be fair, I haven't really done my research on thinking about who could be moved out. Right now, I'm trying to figure out who could play what role, especially in that bottom six. What does this possibly look like? What could it be? So I don't have anyone I feel comfortable saying would not be there. I know what they need. They need a third line center. That is clear as day. That is ringing in my ears every time I watch this team play.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, all the players that were in the lineup tonight, outside of Mangiapane, I think you probably see in the playoff lineup. I think Savoy has done enough to be a regular. So, yeah, it's a little early for that. We need to see what happens at the deadline.
Okay, a couple of interesting thoughts kind of came in a little later on the goaltending thing. You guys can add a comment. If you like, D. White said, I thought we traded for Jarry to have a true number one, so we don't need Ingram because Pickard is a good backup. That was his thought. And then another ND Oiler fan says, last thought on the goalie situation, do the Oilers want to risk the momentum Ingram is building with the big club by sending him down to the jungle? I think that's kind of an interesting counterpoint on the risk side of things. Sending Ingram down seems like the low risk option, but is there risk in sending him down of losing his momentum?
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna play more if he goes down, Struds. He's gonna play more than he would if he were here, because Jarry was brought in to take a run at the number one job, and maybe it'll be 1A, 1B if Ingram continues to play well, if it were the two of them, but I think you need to be able to handle being a starter in the American League and getting the call up and playing well. That's part of this whole thing. So I'm not too worried about that.
It's all about explaining. You've got to explain what we're doing. But I would say I feel comfortable saying what the team would be, who the goalies would be next year, right? I think in a perfect world, they'd want, looking ahead, Ingram and Jarry. That's probably an upgrade you want. Now, got to keep in mind, the money isn't that massive distance between Ingram and Pickard. So it's not like that's a huge thing, but there is some difference, and the Oilers are a little bit tied up. But it's about trying to keep, and I really like Brownie's idea. It's about keeping all the assets as you can, and everyone kind of playing in case you're needed and called upon. This trade for Connor Ingram and the price he's at could be a stroke of genius by Stan Bowman.
Yeah.
I thought as I was watching the game tonight, I don't know how they get there, but I feel like Jarry and Ingram is going to be the pairing as the season comes to a close and we get into playoffs. I think for now it seems like the smart money's on Ingram going down, but I don't know. I kind of felt as I was thinking about Pickard's stats this year, throughout the year and whatnot, that you think about Colorado, the way they turned around their goaltending last year, kind of a similar place to end up. Okay, Paulie99 said, This is interesting about the show. Do you guys listen to the pod at any time after airing live, try to pick up things you want to improve on, etc.? And if so, what's thing you think you can improve on as an individual in your performance here on the show, Shogger?
Yeah, I listen to the show pretty regularly. So sitting right in front of me in my eye line right down here, I don't know if I've showed you guys this before. Can you see that? Can you see what that says?
I can, yeah.
And don't do it. So when I tend to get a little bit lazy on the show, we all have crutches. And a lot of times when you're hosting the show, not only are you thinking about what you're saying right now, but part of your brain is also like, where are we going next? What ad read is coming up? You know, where is the show going from here? And so you develop these crutches to buy yourself time. And I, too often, to buy myself time, I'll go, So early on in this season, I listened to probably the third show in and I was like, oh my God, I sound terrible. So that's been there all year and I've been trying to get better with that.
Yeah, for me, it's tempo and then trying to speak clearly so people don't require closed captioning to understand what the hell I'm saying.
I like that. You get the odd Burt Midler and
Burt Midler
and Daryl
I don't
Dragon
mind that
moment. We love
those things.
moments.
Don't bother me. It's when I'm like
change.
just jumbling. I don't even want that. Even I'm like, what the hell did that guy talk about? Oh wait, no, that's me. It's not a good sign.
A couple of times in our early episodes of Struddy's World, I was afraid to listen because we got off the air and I thought, oh, I was just a bumbling idiot today. I don't even want. And then I listened to it and it was reassuring. It was like, oh, that actually wasn't that bad. Maybe it wasn't great, but it wasn't that bad. So I do as well. Oh.
Dry Spell says Struddy takes off like a freight train if he's not careful. So Dry Spell has noticed the tempo. Somebody said, put coughing with a line through it as well. Oilers forever. So it doesn't like how much coughing I've been doing on the show,
That's
I guess.
Not fair. Not fair. The man is sick. Okay.
Well, I think you guys are both fantastic. And Zuby, from where you started on day one to where you are now, you are most improved player into season 5 here, buddy. Like you have come leaps and bounds and miles and miles. You've always been great, but it's like you're joining us on the show and your on-air stuff's fantastic.
Well, I really appreciate that. Going back to my demo tape that you saw me doing the Nate Sportscast in 1996 or whatever it is.
I remember, yeah.
Okay, this is we'll wrap this up here. Jake the Snake, this is a good one. We didn't talk about this. He says, guaranteed Strud's got PTSD watching that 5-minute shift from Lev Shinov, or however you say his name. What did you think seeing that up there tonight? Man, was he tired.
You know, every now and then someone just shoots me a note on Twitter or whatever. Like, hey, don't know what you're talking about. You had a 4-minute shift. Yeah, that's 4 more minutes than you ever played in the NHL. I answer usually in a very angry way. But yeah, you know what? It's funny. You think about those, like that's a long time to be out there. And, you know, he plays quite a bit, but that's a long time. And I haven't watched it in a couple of years. I should probably review it and kind of critique what I did really well and mostly what I did wrong.
Yeah.
That would be
McDavid and Draisaitl don't seem to mind those long 3-4 minute shifts.
But it's different for them. A lot of times there's our stops and starts. Like that, you know, there's a whistle. And I don't consider, I know it's a consecutive, it's running, but it's really not. Even in icing, anything like that. Like I was out there, it was running time for 4 minutes. That's impressive on its own.
Yeah.
How long did it take? Oilers Forever wants to know, how long does it take to recover from a 4-minute shift?
Well, not much. I didn't really, by the end, I wasn't skating much. I was just kind of standing there hoping that Detroit would score. You're like, let's just end this thing, right? So not long. But I remember, I'm pretty sure I went out. We missed a couple shifts and we went out again for a 2-minute shift and they just shut us down. You're done for the period. I'm like, that's fair.
All right. That was ask us.
Last one we got to know. Kartsy's Corner wants to know, did Struddy text Hayes about the Packers?
I didn't have the heart to, right? I didn't have the heart. If the Giants had John Harbaugh as a coach, I would have texted him for sure. I texted a couple other friends and let them know. And one of their buddies came back and said, you know, Jordan Love has won before, or so he has more wins than Jackson Dart. I said, yeah, one more win. That's the quarterback of the Packers. One more. Like, that's like a Tony Romo answer. Loserville.
All right, Zuby, want to wrap up the poll, buddy?
Oh, yeah, didn't we do? Oh, I did grab the results, but we didn't say them, did we? Okay, here we go. Yeah, the De Boer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center YouTube poll. The question tonight was, with Tristan Jarry about to return from injury, what should the Oilers do with the goaltenders? 37% by the slimmest of margins want to run with 3 and figure it out later. 36% take the safe option, send Ingram down. But a hearty 27% say it's time to risk Calvin Pickard to waivers. Over 500 votes on the stream, a feisty stream tonight on an Oiler win night.
Irresponsible asset management people. All right, good stuff. Nice, healthy stream. And a great number on the show tonight. Really has been awesome. Let's wrap our show with the Mainline Water and Sewer play of the day. Your trusted choice for over 40 years. Specializing in sewer line replacement and expert water line repair and replacement. They have a trenchless method that is quick, low impact, often finished in a day, complete with backflow protection. Check them out online, mainlinewaterandsewer.ca. What do we got, Struds?
Tampa Bay spanked the Flyers 5-1, and early in the third period, he saw 2 fights at once. I don't know that I've seen that all year.
Yes.
2 fights at once. Paul versus Aboul, and then Crozier against Grabenkin, the former Toronto Maple Leaf. So pretty good fights too. Now Grabenkin got a great misconduct, so did Crozier, and a couple other guys got touched up. But man, I just, you don't see that anymore, man. And that Grabenkin, there's something about him. I like him as a player.
Yeah, that'll fire up the bench. 2 scraps going on at the same time. Hey,
crazy.
line brawls are so seldom. They basically never happen anymore. So something like that, get the boys out of their seats, cheering, banging their sticks. I like it. Gets a little dicey for the linesmen though, right? Like that's
tough.
one thing. If you don't have 2 linesmen to break up either fight, you really got to trust the guys to do the right thing.
Yeah, I'll have to tell this funny story about a line brawl I was in, but I didn't even know I was in it. It's another story for another day.
Oh, okay, Zuby, up to you to remember that one.
I'm going to put it in the show notes.
Sounds good. I love it. Where was that? Oh, my name is Jeff says, if you risk Pickard, then Draisaitl will be dry saddle. Talking about the relationship between Leon Draisaitl and Calvin Pickard. Does that matter? They're definitely tight. Leon always talks very highly about Calvin Pickard. We will see what happens on the Oiler goaltending front. Right back at it tomorrow night against the Nashville Predators. We will be right back at it after that game and looking forward to it. Thanks, guys. Good job tonight.
Talk to you guys tomorrow.
Might be a Steve show tomorrow, but
Okay.
I'll see you guys. 5. The Oilers have 5 games this week, Monday to Sunday. Am I reading that right? That's insane. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Chicago, Nashville, day off. Islanders, day off. Canucks, and then Blues back to back there. Yeah.
Bananas.
Yep. And then they've got like a bunch at home before the Olympic break. So anyways, time for me to stop talking. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.